Good evening, everybody. This is the Selectmen meeting. It's September 12th at 6 p.m. And as a reminder, we are recording this via cable, also via Zoom. If somebody wants to record, please let us know. Also, when you get a chance to speak, identify yourself. Tell us who you are, where you're from. And am I missing anything? David is not here with us, but we will do the meeting. And to start, I'm going to ask everybody to stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Item number 1, we have discussion and possible vote to appoint Laura Sheres to the position of Secretary to the Building and Planning Department and to vote to start at a Step 5, Grade C3 on the wage scale.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board this evening. I am pleased to bring before the board for consideration this evening Ms. Laura Sheres. She is from Brimfield and currently working for the town of Sturbridge within their Board of Health. She's been with the town of Sturbridge for a little over 3 years. She has experience within municipal government. She's got some great references. We had a review committee made up of members of the planning board, board of selectmen, myself, review quite a few applicants for this position. And we narrowed it down to some finalists, and Laura was the clear superior within the field. And so we bring her candidacy before the board this evening. We feel as though that she will be an asset to the town, and that she, based on her experience and her knowledge within municipal government, will be a seamless transition to the Building and Planning Office. She is scheduled to start upon your confirmation on September 23rd, which would be a Monday, and should be starting at 8 in the morning.
Thank you, sir. You want to discuss about it?
I'm good with it.
I'm good.
I was one on the panel, so.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Well, we are very happy to have you here. Thank you very much. Do you have anything you want to add to the meeting? Maybe present yourself?
So I'm glad to step up and say hello.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Not been on a mic in a very long time, so my apologies.
You are the first one officially to use that podium.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't let
I
it
don't
go to
have
your
anything
head.
groundbreaking to say, though. So I'm Laura Sheres. Nice to see you all. I have been in municipal work probably about a decade total. I worked in a school district for about 6 years. 6.5 years. I've been at this job about 3 years, and I'm looking forward to hopefully joining the team here.
Excellent. Very good. Anything to ask?
No, I'm happy to have you aboard.
Thank you.
Yeah, we are very happy to have you aboard.
Great, thank you. And that was a lovely intro.
Thanks.
I don't think I can top that. So.
You know, one of the things that Laura, said during her interviews is that she's a professional admin. I've never heard of being described that way, and that really stuck with us. And she's really a go-getter, and she's a people person. So we're really excited to have her on the team, and I think she'd be a great asset to the community.
Very good. Some from school, Board of Health to Planning Board and Building, huh?
I like to take it all in.
Great. So you want to have a motion?
Yep, I'll make a motion to appoint Laura Sheres to the position of Building and Planning Department Secretary and start her at Step 5, Grade C3 on the wage scale.
Second? All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. Motion approved. Welcome in.
Thank you very much, and
And I
I
forgot
look
to
forward
do
to
the
seeing you all soon.
appointment.
What?
Thank
I
you,
forgot
Laura.
to do the appointment, so I'll have to do it real quick.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. We'll see you on the
Two.
23rd. Thank you.
Next, we have our excellent police chief monthly report. Yes, you.
Oh, this is new.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jerry Millett, Police Chief. For the month of August, the department logged 1,637 calls, investigated 5 felonies, had 61 incident reports, had 8 on-view arrests, 4 warrant arrests, 15 summon arrests for a total of 27, 1 protective custody, 1 juvenile arrest, 141 motor vehicle stops, and 61 citations. In the month, obviously, this was my first month being back after my illness. The first week, I think I had 2,400 emails to go through.
That's it?
That was it. So if you email me or call me and I haven't gotten back to you, please get in touch with me. At the beginning of the month, the department put the sign down at Rogers Farm, and I know you had asked for some quick little stats. So the sign registered 12,345 vehicles. 93% or 11,557 traveled under 40 miles per hour. Between 41 and 45 miles per hour, there was 600 for about 5%. Between 46 miles per hour and 50 miles per hour is 89 for 0.72%. 51 to 55, there was 14 for 0.11%, and then above 55, there was only 1 vehicle for 0.001%. On the 5th, the school committee met to discuss the upcoming school year. Obviously, there's a lot of talk about getting ready and the safety, and we have a meeting next week for putting the drills together. On the 20th and 21st, I attended the Central Mass Chiefs training. This training covered topics such as legal updates due to the many laws that the legislature that is passing with the new firearms laws and switchblade stuff. That was all discussed. And also there was a class on the struggles of hiring and keeping employees in law enforcement. On the 26th, Detective Moran and I conducted an ALICE training for the new Quabog employees. Also assisting us was our chair, our safety chair, Eric Urban. This month, we conducted the interviews for the open patrolman's position. Officer John Bell will be starting next week for us. We're excited to have him aboard. And finally, I'll try and get past this one. For my 5th year in a row, I signed up to walk the Jimmy Fund, Dana Farmer Jimmy Fund fundraiser on October 6th. I joined the team police chiefs from all around the state. Joined this team. And we fundraise and try and raise money for Dana-Farber. This year I'm going to be dedicating my walk to 8-year-old AJ Congdon of Oxford. AJ went to school at Dudley Elementary. He had a rare inoperable brain cancer. Played football with my little guy. In June, AJ lost his battle with cancer. So this year I'm dedicating my walk to AJ.
Nice.
Very good, chief.
And that's about it.
I was gonna ask you a quick, your report is so good and nice, but you could tell us in your own words, how are we doing?
For
General, like how, as a police, month by month, like we're getting really hit by a lot. We're doing good. Our rate of crime has been going down or going up. I don't know, something that you wanna.
It's tough to say, like, the call logs, you notice that vary from 2,000 down to, there's some calls that they go on that they could spend all day there. For instance, there was an unintended death, I think we had 3 in the last week, and those take 4, 5, 6 hours, depending on what's gonna happen, if the ME's office is coming out or anything like that. Crime-wise, we're doing pretty well. If you notice that where it says summons arrest, those are mostly, we're not taking them in custody, we're summons them into court, so it could be motor vehicle stuff, things like that. Warrant arrests and on-view arrests are stuff that we take people in custody for. Obviously, warrant's a warrant, and on view could be a domestic or anything that they're taking somebody in custody for. So those numbers aren't bad. Our summons arrests, you'll see sometimes they're high when they get a chance to do a lot of motor vehicle stuff. They might have a lot of motor vehicle charges, unregistered vehicles, stuff like that, not unlicensed. So it's weird how it goes. So we could have a month where the calls logged are low, but we actually had a lot of calls because they weren't out there maybe doing building checks or stopping motor vehicles because they were on calls that took hours at a time.
Very good.
So law enforcement is strange in that form.
But you're doing good.
Thank you, sir.
And is the sign at Roger Farms gonna stay?
For a little while.
So we can have a second set of statistics if that lowers a little bit people?
Yeah, so this 93% I'd like to get higher. So for instance, when last time we pulled it off the top of my head, the one that's by the school, it was something like 98.8% 140 and under. So we'd like to get that up.
Very good. You have any questions?
No, I don't.
No, very good, Chief. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Am I on the next one too?
Yep. We have possible vote to authorize the police chief to attend MA Chiefs in Service training in Norwood, Massachusetts, September 17 to September 19, 2024. Anticipated vote.
So this is a yearly training I have to attend to for our, it's required for in-service for me. This is attended by almost every chief in the state. I think last year there was 300 and something there. It's 3 days, and we usually come from the board for approval for it.
I feel very happy that you get more training. The more training, the better.
Thank you, sir.
I'm all good. You're good?
We expect A+.
You got it.
Show off. Show off. We have a motion, please.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve the police chief to attend the MA Chiefs in-service training from 9/17 to 9/19.
I second. All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. Motion approved, Chief.
Thank you.
Good to go.
Thanks.
Next, we have review and discuss a letter of interest submitted by Carol Kelleher and Diane Banfield to serve on the Warren Cultural Council for 3-year terms. Anticipated vote.
Does these have to be separate motions?
As long as you name them together, that's fine.
Okay.
As you know, the Warren Cultural Council has to take a year off. So they took their year off and now they want to come
Okay.
back on.
Good vacations. Okay, I'm okay.
Motion?
A motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Carol Kelleher and Diane Banfield to the Warren Cultural Council for a 3-year term.
I second that. All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. Motion approved. They are good to go. Number 4, acknowledgement letter from the Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll on the town's award of 2 best practices stage grants and to authorize the town administrator to sign on behalf of the town for said grants. Jim?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I come before the board this evening with some great news. The town is in receipt of 2 Department of Revenue Community Compact Best Practices grants. One grant is for $20,000, and that will be charged with creating a new 3-year classification and compensation plan for the town. As the board is aware, our current plan is set to expire June 30th of next year, and we are in need of a new compensation plan. And the Collins Center from UMass Boston has been doing these types of plans for communities across the Commonwealth for several years and has a vast experience in that. And later on this evening, there'll be a professional services agreement for the board to consider with them. But this grant for $20,000 would pay for that compensation and classification plan. The other grant that we received from the Department of Revenue, Community Compact Best Practices, is $25,000 to develop an employee policies and procedural manual. Obviously, we have a personnel bylaw. We do not have a put-together policies and procedure manual for our employees. Something that is critical. Most professional organizations have one. Again, the Collins Center at UMass is experienced with putting something like this together. They will certainly be asked to put together a scope of work and to provide us with a quote for this. But this will be an involved undertaking project to get this done. And we've got $25,000 from the state to fund this project. So that's $45,000 in total just this week that we received in state grants, along with the other $201,000 that we received a few weeks ago from the state on the Green Communities money that we had applied for to do energy efficiencies within this building and at the senior center. This is nearly $250,000 in grants that this town has received in less than 2 months' time. And so this is at no cost to the taxpayers will these projects be completed. These projects are much needed in town that need to be completed. Some of these projects were on our capital plan. Now they can be considered complete once we get moving with these grants. And on the green communities side of things, on that side of the projects, not only are we going to have the money to do these projects, but the green community grant money is also going to realize annual savings in energy costs. So not only did we have the grant to pay for the project, but we're going to have a projected annual savings cost at the senior center for $1,265 annually. Here, it's projected to be, because it's a bigger building, $3,735 annually in savings costs. So those costs will also be savings for the residents. This is a win-win for the town. And so we're able to get these projects done. These grants came in this week. I received a call from the Lieutenant Governor's office. I spoke to Lieutenant Governor with regards to this letter that she had provided us, and I thanked the administration for their continued belief and investment in the town of Warren.
Very good, Jim. What would we do without you?
He needs to
Very
sign
good.
those.
And so before you this evening, there's two contracts. One is for the $25,000 grant, and the other is for the $20,000 grant. And that would just authorize me to sign on behalf of the town for the grants, and the chair of the board would have to sign.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to authorize the town administrator to sign on behalf of the town for the 2 best practices state grants.
I second that. All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
And you have to sign those.
Do we have one more for the number 5 item here, or the?
Number 5, yep, that's next, yep.
Okay. I sign here.
Yes.
Yeah, yellow.
My phone? Oh.
Goes to you, Jude.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So we move into number 5, which is review and possible vote to enter into a professional service agreement between the town and Collins Center at UMass Boston for the purposes of conducting a classification and compensation review. Anticipated vote.
So, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this study can take as much as, 6 to 8 months to complete. Time is of the essence because we're going to be formulating our budget right after January. And so it's important that we start this process as quickly as possible. Now, with the official award of the grant, I have asked the Collins Center to draft up a scope and a contract for consideration for the board. Based on the number of positions that we're going to have them review, which is 38 positions. The all-inclusive fee that the Collins Center will be charging us is $19,000. The grant was 20. That leaves us a little bit of a cushion in case there was another position or two that we would like them to also look at. As you can see, the Collins Center has conducted these types of reviews for several municipalities across the state. I believe the town of West Brookfield recently used them for one of their studies. This grant is going to require town staff to work in conjunction with the staff at the Collins Center to making this a successful project. I've asked Karen Dusty to take part in this and to help us out in this important project, and she has been helping with gathering all this information. There's a lot of data, a lot of information that needs to be gathered for them. She's gathered it. We're going to be doing some video calls next week on Tuesday, as well as on the 25th. There's going to be an opportunity for a person to come in from every job category, at least one person from every job category, to come in to do a survey, to talk to the Collins Center, to explain to them what they do, so that the Collins Center can start that orientation process and can start really understanding the scopes of these different positions and what they are entailed in the duties and the job description in comparison to what the wages reflect. So they are going to be taking a look at that piece as well as the economic piece in terms of where the town is economically, as well as comparables to size and also income levels. So this study, I've put it in there. I've put in their ear that I'd like to see this study completed by February of next year. As long as we can keep pushing and have participation and get everybody involved, we can meet that goal. It gets derailed if we're missing information, if there's not participation from departments. That's where it can be taken additional time to complete. Time is important to us because we need to have this study done so that this plan can be developed so that we can formulate our budgets.
Yeah, besides thanking Mrs. Dusty for helping on this, I want to tell all our employees that this is not a self-evaluation of their performance.
Correct.
It's a role issue. It's a role happening. They're going to tell us, how are we doing and how will be the best way to get it done.
Sure.
Every
So
role.
this is going to be analyzing the duties and responsibilities of positions, analyzing what the salary makeup is, the hourly wage makeup is, and to see where we need to be in line for the next 3 years moving forward.
Yeah. We need all the support from our employees to get
Correct.
this done. Like I said, it's not a personal evaluation of how they're doing.
Right.
It's vice versa. It's completely the other way around.
Right.
Do you have any?
Nope, I think it's a good idea.
It's a great idea.
Because last time we just sort of,
Well, last time we took it
Made
in
it up
our
as
hands
well.
and,
Yeah.
and, you know, like one here, and I remember that. I was
Mhm.
trying to get everybody one more buck. Okay. So we're gonna make a motion?
yeah, what do we, I'll make a motion to enter in a professional service agreement with the Collins Center at UMass.
I second that. Are we all in
Derek
favor?
needs to sign that.
Oh,
All in favor?
Rich Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. Motion approved.
Thank you. Here, there. Thank you, sir.
Jim, are you gonna be like overseeing this
Yep.
process?
Yep.
I think it's also good that maybe we can consolidate some of those secretary compartment things.
Yeah. And I think it's all positive.
Sure.
We, you know, we're not gonna reinvent the wheel.
Correct.
And there are professionals doing this. They do it all over Massachusetts. Who just, one more town who wants to move forward.
Mhm. And obviously, Mr. Chairman, when the report is ready, they will come to the selectmen to present it.
Mhm.
Very good. Next, we're gonna review and discuss options, price quotes from Entra Technologies for the purpose of upgrading town computers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before you this evening is a couple different scenarios, price quotes. As you recall, one of our capital plans and capital items that we needed and want to address is upgrading of town computers. We had put together an article to address, starting to address the upgrade at this annual town meeting that recently happened. And so I've been trying to compile some of the quotes and information for the board from our new IT provider, Entree Technologies. And I know the board had an interest in looking at buying versus leasing, and that is what is before you this evening. There is a proposal, all from Entree. One computer company is HP, the other is Dell. We currently, most of our units are Dell. There's some HP here. HP leases computers, Dell not so much. And the quotes are on similar makeups of computers, similar product, just different manufacturers. And so on the lease side of things, it is higher. If you look at the overall cost, it's about a little over $4,000 more to lease than to outright purchase. And, you know, there's pros and cons to each proposal. But the proposals that are before you this evening, I'd like to start the discussion with the board on this, because this is going to be another involved project in a huge undertaking that the town will be part of, because there are several computers here that are beyond their useful life, that desperately need to be upgraded and pose as a cybersecurity risk for the town. And so this is going to start this process to try to do the upgrades as quickly and as penny-wise as we can to get these moving. And Entree is obviously on the state contract list, so they are currently on there to sell hardware. So this would be relatively an easy purchase for the town in terms of procurement. Currently, our computers are all over the place. Some of them, a majority of them will not support Windows 11 moving forward. A majority of them only have 8 gigs of memory, when the standard is usually 1632, somewhere around there. It's quite troubling. Some of them, may have speakers. Others don't have speakers. May have a camera. Others may not have a camera. The computers that that have been identified by our IT provider of being high risk for cybersecurity needs, there's approximately 20 of them right now that need to be addressed immediately. And so these are the costs that are associated with the upgrade. So there's a couple options. On the buy side, there's a very similar product that Dell puts out that we basically have is the OptiPlex 7020 desktop, which is an i5 processor with 16 gigs of memory, 256 gigabytes. Comes with Windows 11 Pro, 3-year basic warranty. Includes the wired keyboard, the built-in camera. In that particular complete unit, the desktop is $758. The monitor is $299 a piece, and that does not include the technician to take all the information from the computer, transfer it over, upload all the information, program the computers, set up the technology. That's not included. That's a separate service that will be provided and is part of the quote as well. And then there's also, in terms of a little bit more of a gigabyte, there's if you wanted the same type of Dell OptiPlex but with a 32 gig of memory, that price is $885 for the unit. And then if you wanted the wireless keyboard and mouse, it comes standard with the wired, but if you wanted a wireless keyboard and mouse, that's $48 a unit. So those are some differences there. On the lease side of things, through HP, they offer a lease term of 60 months, 18 months, 36 months. But if you calculate the actual cost over the period of time, so for example, at 60 months, the annual advance payment that the town would be responsible for is $8,917.84 a year for 5 years, for a total price of $39,779. If you were to purchase those same equipment, would approximately be about $4,000 less in terms of outright purchasing it. It's because of the lease has, obviously, there's interest that you have to pay and a lease factor that you have to take into consideration that is built into the lease.
Go ahead.
So these are options, okay? this is starting the discussion. I have a grant that I applied for that I'm hoping that I will hear from the end of this month. So I just wanted to bring this information to the board to start the discussion, to maybe get some questions that you may have, and to get some information that you may want to see a little bit further on, and to see where we are at the end of the month with this grant. The grant that I applied for is a Massachusetts Technology Resiliency Cyber Grant. That grant is to look at vulnerabilities within our IT infrastructure. We had a third party come in as part of the grant and to do an assessment, and that third party was TOS, who was one of our people that made a presentation about possibly doing our IT. So they came in and they did an assessment, a third party assessment. I emailed you copies of the assessment this week. I asked that you take a look at them. I've also sent those assessments to our current provider, Entree, and I want them to develop a plan to attack the high-risk needs immediately. And we're going to be having that discussion on the 26th. And so I asked them to review it, to digest the analysis of these reports. And there's some of the vulnerabilities, we can take care of relatively quickly, but they need to be taken care of. They also identified in the report, which is going to help us on the grant, that a majority of our IT infrastructure, our hardware, is obsolete and is going to be obsolete, imposes as a significant cybersecurity risk for the town. So, it's critical that we try to see if we can get this grant. That will be a compelling argument from a third party that did this assessment, that hopefully we'll get this, grant, but there's no guarantee. But even if we don't get this grant, we do have that article that we put aside at town meeting to start to address some of our aging IT infrastructure.
What do you think?
So the grant would presumably would cover replacing all the systems that need to be replaced.
Well, the grant is capped at $25,000.
Okay. all right.
So, depending on what our award would be, that would be, a portion of that would go towards starting to replace those computers.
So what happens with a lease?
So,
So if we're purchasing, it's obvious.
Right.
You get 25 grand, you go buy a bunch of computers. But
Mhm.
what if we do a lease?
I don't know if the grant would necessarily cover a lease.
Okay.
Probably not. And we will be taxing the future,
Yeah.
because if we use a grant for a lease, and then when the lease is over, we're gonna have to ask for money for that.
Well, presumably, maybe like the first year they pay for or something like that. I don't know.
Maybe
Usually, grants won't pay for subscriptions,
That's right.
leases,
Okay.
memberships. They want the
So
grant to
it's,
be paid for an asset.
So if we get a grant, we're looking at purchasing.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, does the town have other options of purchasing, or this is the only way we can purchase?
Well, you would have to purchase either something on the state list, or you would have to go out to bid, depending on the value of how much you're going to look to purchase. I think it's a lot easier and it's a lot seamless to select somebody who's qualified off of the state OSD list.
It's not something we can just order on Amazon and then get computers and, hey, here they.
Right,
That doesn't work.
right.
I just wanna.
Well, I
At
mean,
some point, we
I mean,
wanna have
if-
that
if-
question from the public, and
Right, I
and we
mean,
wanna have an answer.
If you're gonna buy one or two, yeah, you can do that. But when you're talking about a purchase of 20,000 or greater, there's procurement laws that come into play.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear. So, you know, because you can get different prices and somebody's gonna say, hey, why you do this?
Right.
And it's because of that. I think I'll like, well, we were just discussing, I really like to have David pick David's
Sure.
brain and his opinion as well.
Mhm.
But I think it's a good start, right?
Yeah, couple other things, if I can.
No, sure.
So Windows 11 is 4 gig RAM is the minimum that you need. So so 16 is gonna sort of be in the middle maybe. But I would make sure, there may be some systems in here that we could get away with 4 gig. And then there may be some, like the stuff dealing with Vadar, maybe you want 32 gig.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
I would, it's gotta be on a,
Al-
instead of
also
just
if-
buying blanket computers, it's gotta be based on the department.
Also,
You
if,
know.
if we go to 32, but we have a small processor, it doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's either, I'd
Yeah,
rather
sure.
have a 16 with a good processor than a 32 with a small processor.
yeah.
I think
These
they're
are
calling
all
for a 5.
i5, so it's.
So it's
you
in the
know,
middle.
It's
So
okay.
5 and 16, I think it works okay for
Yeah.
everything.
I would also, what's a monitor without a camera cost? 'Cause,
You can
like-
get them cheaper. You can get them cheaper.
Does, I'll just pick on somebody, but Dawn may never need to do a remote session.
Mhm.
But maybe somebody else does. So I would, instead of just buying a bunch of monitors with, because $300 for a monitor seems high.
Mhm.
Because they're probably not,
No, these
Great
are all
monitors.
PCs. We're not looking at
Laptops?
laptops.
well,
No,
listen,
there's some laptops here. There's
So the
um,
laptops come with a camera, so maybe
Yeah.
we start, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, there's some laptops that need replacement. The laptop that they are recommending here is a Dell, and that laptop is $980 a piece.
Now, there's another little equation I haven't seen this in detail, but are we doing Windows Pro?
Pro, yeah.
Okay.
yeah. So again, I think spec the system by the department, right? If they don't need a camera, then don't get them,
Mhm.
right? And
Well,
and if
I-
they don't need, you know, a huge amount of memory, don't get
Mhm.
them a lot of memory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I just, in today's modern age, right, I don't, there may be some departments that may not necessarily need a camera, but a majority of the departments will probably do. Because, there's a ton of Maya trainings that require you to be on camera in order for the town to get credit. There could be Zoom calls that, that you may be doing with Vadar or with banking that, is going to walk you through some steps. We just had new equipment installed, phones, and all of that training was done on Zoom.
Well, let me give you an example. For all those options, you don't need to show your face. You need to see someone else's screen.
Mhm.
yeah,
So,
Unless you're getting credit, then you have to be on
yeah,
camera.
well, yeah, like at church, my kids need to have face there, otherwise they don't get credit for it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
let's just do our exploration, and
Mhm.
we'll have options, and like you said, X, Y, and Z, and each department gets what they need.
yeah.
Mhm.
You could always buy like a couple USB cameras
Mhm.
and just have like 3 in the office here. And for somebody who might need one who doesn't have one of these
Just plug it in.
monitors, yeah.
Well, I
And
have
those
one
actually
that-
are often better than the
If
ones
I'm
that
gonna
come
use
on
the
the
old,
monitor.
it's the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. The ones that are on the monitor may not be that good in the first place, so,
Mhm.
you know.
And again, one of the things that we're looking to do is, we're looking to get complete units, okay? And units that all work together, so that you don't have, an HP monitor and a Dell, a Dell desktop, a Dell tower. We're looking to get all of them uniformed. It's easier to maintenance, it's easier to service, less risk of any type of malware or stuff that's looking to penetrate when you have it all together. That's what our goal here is. And you look at departments. Certainly we can look at sizes of gigs and memory, as based on need. But I would just, I would hate to see the town be a penny wise and a pound foolish on, especially if we get a grant on some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because if you look at, the difference between a 16 gigabyte and a 32 gigabyte is about $120.
Yeah,
Yeah.
our thoughts are gonna change while
Yeah.
like, for example, right now, I'll say wireless, we don't need, every year you have to change batteries.
Mhm.
So it becomes a cost in a
Mhm.
short term, but, maybe.
Yeah, if every keyboard in here needs batteries, now you gotta buy
Usually,
batteries.
I
you know.
I just toss, when a keyboard stops working, even if you put a new battery, it doesn't work the same way. So
Mm.
they do it on purpose, it's just like everything else.
Sure.
It has a lifespan, and, computers, I buy computers every week for the office, and they're good for 2 or 3 years.
Mhm. And there's some departments here that would prefer less wires and
Yeah.
and would prefer more aerodynamic workstations
You
that
get
are
the
easier to.
options, we get the grant, we get,
Mhm.
okay, I think it's a go, it's a
Mhm.
no-brainer.
So I think this is good information. I think this will help the discussion along and kind of get everybody thinking about what direction the town should move in. I will certainly mention it to departments at our meetings and to kind of get their feedback and bring it to you guys as well.
So if we buy, we need to come up with a plan to replace them,
Sure.
like right away. So, and maybe what you wanna do is we're gonna have certain users in here who are more high-power users, like the Vadar users. Replace their computers first, and maybe you push them all down,
Mhm.
right? So maybe after 2 years, you replace like those top 5 computers, and maybe you can push them all down.
Mhm.
And get rid of the ones at the bottom. So as we always have, you don't end
schedule.
up with 10-year-old systems.
Right.
Yeah.
You know? I
Right.
mean, that's what I wanted to solve with leasing.
Right.
And there is a cost, obviously.
Yeah.
But at least it would force us to
Right.
keep,
Yeah,
current
keep a line
technology.
Right.
from the budget to replace every year a few of
Yeah,
them.
and then we'll never be behind.
Exactly,
You know.
and that's one of the reasons why we were so strong with bringing back capital planning, right?
Yeah.
And so capital planning, this is their charge, right? We're going to hold departments' feet to the fire. Okay, is it time for a new police cruiser? Is it time for a new computer? We're going to start making sure that we're on this rotation and that we have them built in every year.
Yeah.
This isn't all of the computers either. We have
That's not all of them,
21.
right.
So there's already some that we're not replacing that need to go on that rotation.
Yeah, well, those would probably be the first ones then, maybe next year. Or-
Yeah.
How many total computers do we have?
There's about
Give or take.
a little less than 40 workstations, so
Okay,
this is almost half of them,
so we'd have to do.
more than half.
Probably 8 a year, right?
Yep.
I mean, a 5-year-old computer isn't terrible. It could be better, but we gotta think about the money, so.
Mhm.
And also start thinking about one for here. For the meetings, because that's your personal computer.
Yeah, right. If I'm not reelected, then I'm taking this with me, so. Right? But it's like, there should be one that anybody who does a meeting in the room can just use, right?
And it could be an old box, one of the good computers right now, they're gonna be replaced, just be a box here and.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be
Well, we
anything.
That could be
actually-
the screen.
We actually have a box, we actually have a computer for the, oh my gosh, parking clerk.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just sitting there. It's on, but it's just sitting there.
Mhm. Yeah.
Just a thought,
Mm-hmm.
because like Rich said, when he's gone, that goes with him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're never gonna be done.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do you have any more questions?
No.
Good, so we'll keep discussing this.
Yes.
Hopefully David will give us his,
And like I said, I'm
opinion.
I'm hopeful that, that the grant, you know, we'll get some information on the grant by the end of the month. I do want you to really look at those vulnerabilities from TOS.
I
that I
did
s-
look at 'em,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. If you have any questions or anything about that, I'm gonna have a meeting with Entree on the 26th. Feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call, and I'll make sure
should you
that's on.
reply to the email so it goes on top?
Sure. Yep.
Thank
The
you.
one thing that was kind of annoying about that report is they didn't sort it by the severity level.
Right.
So you had to scroll through like a lot of other
Right.
issues to find like, I don't know, were there 5 high priority ones?
There was 5, so
Yeah.
yeah, if you just look at the red marks.
Yeah, but it was,
Yeah.
you know, a list of like 50 things.
Right, right.
Over, you know, 10 pages.
Right.
But whatever. I
We,
mean, it's-
without looking at any computer 4 years and older,
Yeah.
it's a troublemaker.
Right.
You can open up to anything.
Right.
All right. Number 7, review and possible vote to have the chair sign the final settlement for the following grants. Anticipated vote. A, Community Development Fund. B, CDF FY18, CDF FY19, CDF FY20.
Mr. Chairman, these are community block grant funds and grants that were part of Pioneer Valley Planning Commission when the town was with them. And this is closeout paperwork for fiscal year 17, 18, 19, and 20 to close out these grants that were administered by the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission.
Is there anything crucial that we have to review or look into it? It's
No,
just a
I mean, they've
procedure?
all been zeroed out in expense. And to my knowledge, they have been completed.
What happened to the underutilized grant funds? It says underutilized grant to be canceled.
I believe that was the EV station. That was the last one we did with
No, they all have some amount of money. So does that become our program income money, or does that just go back to?
That must have been, at whatever these projects were at the time, they must have been funds that were not used within that grant cycle,
So they went back to the
back to the federal government.
grantor?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's paperwork.
Yeah.
There's
it
nothing
looks like
to,
it. Yeah.
like I said, I don't wanna sign this. Go
Sure you
ahead.
do. I'll make a motion to, what is this?
Have me sign it.
Well, do we accept are we accepting these as the final?
No, you just sign off on the final grant closeout paperwork for fiscal years 17, 18, 19, and 20 by the chair.
Okay. So I move to have the chair, Derek Valise, sign the final settlement for the Community Development Fund FY 17, 18, 19, and 20 grants.
I second that. All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. Motion approved.
I got a few to sign.
You get it? You get it, Mike? Thank you very much. Next, we have warrants and bills.
Make a motion to pay the following warrant, PR 10, $70,049.22.
I second that. All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. Motion passes.
I'll make a motion to pay the following bills, Entree Technologies, $1,195, Stericycle Shred It, $129.25, Weston and Sampson, $7,500, and Verizon, $568.50.
I second that. All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. Motion passes. Minutes. Review and possible acceptance of any minutes.
So I'll make a motion to approve the September 9th, 2024 minutes.
September.
On the Verizon bill, I didn't see that on there. Is it-
Oh, did you not
Oh.
get the updated one?
Oh, it's,
It's not
Sorry.
September 9th, it's September 5th.
Oh,
What's that?
Sorry.
All right.
it wasn't more than $500 for Verizon?
Do you want
Not
to
our
see it?
share,
Oh, not our share, okay, all right.
yeah.
That's just our share, okay.
That's
all
just
right.
our share.
All right, I'm gonna redo my motion, make a motion to approve the minutes from September 5th, 2024.
I second that. All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. Minutes approved. We have next our town administrator report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I have a couple things I'd like to report to the board on. From our last week's meeting, I have been in contact with Chief Millette on two matters. One, on the active shooter training for our employees. He has put in contact with me, Detective Morin, and he is going to be available to do some training for our employees. I have to get back with him on some dates, and we will have that training soon. I also touched base with the chief on the board's request to move the speed sign at Rogers Farm further down on the opposite side of the street. That was done by the chief and his fellow officers last week. So it is now further down across the street, more towards that intersection. So hopefully it will be more visible and more seen. That took care of some of the requests last week. We've had, I've been working with town council on housing court referrals for 28 North Street, as well as 2240 Main Street. I'm waiting on a signature for 28 North Street from the inspector. 2240 Main Street was signed off on by the inspector. I forward that to Jeff Blake. He is going to get that into the system at Housing Court, and those two referrals will be moving forward. Northern Tree was out this week handling the levee and taking care of the brush and the debrushing around the levee. Jimmy McKeon was down there with Northern Tree. I talked to him today briefly. He said they did a fantastic job. They dropped all of the brush and slashed it, and really got in some areas that we could have never gotten in because of the terrain that is out there. He feels as though that the job is complete, and that they did a very good job. And our hope is that it will dry up now, and that it will be in a better position for when the inspection comes around with the Army Corps of Engineers. So Northern Tree was out this week to finish that up. On Wednesday this week, September 11th, I had a meeting with our finance team, myself, assessors, treasurer, collector, accountant. We talked about a whole gamut of things related to fiscal year 24 closeout, to getting starting the discussion already on special town meeting in November, to starting to look at and continue to look at some of the things that were addressed in our management letter by our auditor, to continue to move the town forward on getting those some of those items taken care of. I also had a conversation with our treasurer to have get our contact information from our financial advisors at Unibank, to start the discussion with them on putting together a payment schedule, or a proposed payment schedule, in a bonding schedule for the possibility of a public safety complex. We're going to be having those numbers be made available to us relatively very soon, and as part of Jeff's report, to try to understand what this would be potentially costing the town every year. And so we would need to bring in some of our financial advisors on that, to look at bonding and bonding capacity. So I've gotten their contact information. I'll be reaching out to Unibank very shortly, as well as working with Jeff to incorporate that into our report. Speaking of Jeff was out here last night. We were with the Conservation Commission, myself, and Chief Lavoie was here with Jeff to go over one of the potential siting locations for a public safety complex, to get some of the feedback, preliminary feedback from the Conservation Commission, to kind of understand preliminarily, would this potentially conceptually work at this particular location? What are some of the clearly identified pitfalls within this particular site, and can they be mitigated? If they can't be mitigated, then we should stop the discussion on that site. We got some positive feedback from the Conservation Commission. Feels as though that there's possibilities there. Jeff's working on them. Jeff will be making his final report to the board next Thursday. At that meeting, that'll be a very important meeting. I've asked Jeff to give a digital copy of the report and have it ready by Monday, the 16th. So I will email it to everybody that day, so that you can have it a couple days prior to the meeting, so you can take a look at it, ask any questions that you may have, formulate any questions that you may have on it, and it will be released at the meeting. He will have bound copies of the report as well, but this is just initially, he'll put out the digital copy first. I talked about the third-party vulnerability detection analysis report by TOS. Even if we don't get the grant, just having that third-party, free report was huge for the town, because now we can take that to our IT provider and say, hey, look, we want these things addressed, and how can we get this done? And it's a third party. They're not biased. This is stuff that we want to see happen. So I'm happy about that. Again, I'm going to have a discussion with Andre on the 26th with that. Andre did bring to my attention, and as you guys just approved, a bill for $1,195 to Andre. That is for a renewal of a sonic wall that had expired at the fire station that Northeast didn't let us know. And so the sonic wall we put in, I think a year or two ago. It had expired. It needed to be renewed. So we got a 3-year renewal of the sonic wall. So it's $1,100 to renew it. It's renewed, it's up and running, it's there. This week, we had, I was here Monday night with Parks and Rec. We were going through 30-plus resumes for the new part-time admin assistant that we had advertised for the last few months. We've narrowed it down, whittled it down to 5 or 6 people that we wanted to call in for interviews. I have called and started the interview process and scheduling those interviews. And the first interview is going to happen on a Monday, the 16th at 5:30. Comcast, and I reported to the board at last meeting that Comcast was supposed to come last Thursday to do our upgrade and to move our router next to our server. They did not show. I called Comcast. I spoke with them, and the reason why they did not come to get it to do the install was because of the package that they had sold the town had expired and shouldn't have been sold to the town, and they couldn't schedule a person to come out and install a package that was expired. So somehow, some way, Comcast decided not to notify us of that. I obviously let Comcast know our frustration. They are coming out on Tuesday, the 17th, between 8 and 10, supposedly, to install a new router. The service now, instead of 800 download speed, we're going to be at 1.25 gigabyte download speed, 200 upload speed. So there was a difference about $5 a month more. Our plan was at $265-ish. It's now at $270-ish. For $5 more, it's actually probably a better package for the town in the long run. So they're coming out on Tuesday to do that. We have a project meeting on Monday at 9 a.m. on the School Street, Otis Street improvement project. That has been progressing right along and is nearing completion and nearing final pavement. This week, I also put out to bid, upon a request from our highway surveyor, road materials for construction road materials for roads and hired equipment. I put that bid together, that invitation for bid together with council's approval. I got that out to bid this week. Bids are due back October 3rd. Took some time to put that together, and we got that out this week. So we're hoping to get some competitive bids for construction road materials. We also are having next week on the 18th at the Senior Center, Wrights Mills Master Recovery Plan. Very important to all our listening audience and the audience here. We're having our public presentation on the Wrights Mills Master Recovery Plan. Come on out to Senior Center next Wednesday, 6 o'clock. Let's talk about Wrights Mills. Let's talk about the area rights around Wrights Mills. Let's talk about some of the impediments to possibly developing that area. Let's talk about what would improve some of the quality of life around the neighborhood around Wrights Mills. Let's talk about Wrights Mills next Wednesday at 6. So that's another important meeting. That's part of our grant, our EDA grant that we're moving along with. And we have quite a bit of excitement around that particular grant. I do want to let the board know that we are going to have next Tuesday an internal review committee on the proposal that was submitted by Weston and Sampson for the town common redesign. We're going to be looking at that next Tuesday at 4 o'clock, as well as next week we'll be starting our initial meeting with the Collins Center in UMass on the 17th to start that wage plan and compensation plan, and then hopefully on the 25th have the orientation for all of our departments about getting that. I'm very thankful that we have a new employee starting, Laura Sheris. I think it's a long time coming that we fill that spot in building and planning, and I think the residents of the town will be pleased with this pick.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
So what was the housing stuff at the beginning?
So the housing, those were the referrals that the Board of Health wanted to be referred to court, for court matter.
All right.
I thought it was 27 North.
27 North, is it 27 North?
Yeah,
Yeah.
not 28.
Okay, 27 North.
So what does that mean, a referral to the court? I don't understand, I guess.
So, there's been a litany of correction orders that were given to both properties that they have not complied with.
Okay.
And so the Board of Health has asked for legal intervention.
Okay, so it's sort of like the last straw,
Right,
and this is our step now, is to
Right.
take them to court.
It
Okay.
also gets them to have to put people up in a motel instead of us.
Ah, okay.
so, Jeff has those. I do want to draw your attention, and I kind of emphasize this as well to the board of Health, that, it's important that you prioritize these properties. Now, I understand that every complaint is a priority. I totally get that. And I understand that every complaint needs to be addressed. I totally get that. But when we're dealing with a limited budget, and now we're exercising the last straw, the court, it can be timely and it can be costly. So these two properties were properties that they wanted to put right to the front, and so they're there. Now, moving forward, we'll have to take a look at, the costs. Obviously, we'll try to recover some of the costs if we can at court by these problem property landlords. It's unlikely, but we're going to try. So as we start to address these things, we may need to look at budgetary things around legal. They have 2 problem properties now. We'll monitor them, I'll monitor them, and I've asked the Board of Health to prioritize these.
And do the legal costs come out of Board of Health, or are just the general,
General. legal.
okay, which covers planning board, select board,
Correct.
everybody? Okay.
Everybody.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think we've gone this far before in the town.
No, I mean, this is kind of a first step. I think we were involved a little bit in court with Bacon Street.
Yeah, I was gonna say Bacon, yeah.
With Bacon Street, 29 Bacon, and we had some success there. So they're getting 2 more properties.
What is going on with Bacon Street, any idea?
I'm not sure if the same person owns it anymore.
Hmm.
I know that there was, the rear garage was torn down. and,
Oh, okay, good,
I'm not sure if it's the same owner anymore
yeah.
or what the status is. But I know that, that garage was torn down.
Okay,
Anything else?
that's it?
Jim, maybe Tim McCain took some pictures of the levee.
Yep,
That'll be good.
yeah, yes, you
Just
did.
for the record.
Sure.
No, so they can show before or after, or, oh, we've done this.
He does have some right now. I mean, I can send them to you right now if you want to take a look.
You could send them, but, I just wanted to make sure that it was on the record.
Yeah.
So we can, because there's no better thing than, a picture is better than 1,000 words.
Exactly.
Just for the record, I just did a speed on our data for the Wi-Fi, and it's 16.3 going down, 2.27 going up. So maybe we could see an improve soon.
Yeah.
And I will put those on the minutes.
Mm-hmm.
16.3 going down, 2.7 going up.
It's fabulous.
And I'm sure Jim will also put that into his committee
Oh, no, that's great, yeah.
minutes and report when he comes before us. And I emailed some of the pictures to Rich right now. I don't know if you want to pull them up.
You wanna see them now?
Yeah, let's check it out. We're good, we're an hour and 15 minutes.
I don't know, did they go?
It just sent.
Oh, there we go. Let's do this. So that's obviously before, huh? Oh, this is all before pictures?
That looks
No,
like
no,
after.
no, that is.
That's after?
It's
Yeah.
after because
Is it?
whatever they didn't.
It has to
they-
dry.
They didn't. They just dropped it. So.
Oh, I see, okay.
It's just dropped. Everything's been cut and slashed, and everything is dropped.
Okay.
And it's a little tough to tell, maybe by,
There's no
next month.
Tree standing up.
Yeah,
Next month when it's not as green, in the cold, in November too, you'll be able to see that, that stuff has been dead.
Thank you.
I'll just show these real quick. Okay.
Thank you very much for your report. Thank you. New business.
I do have new business.
Let's hear
Like the
it.
first time ever, maybe.
Wow.
The CMMPO, which is the Central Massachusetts Metropolitan Planning Organization, is the group that decides for Central Mass what goes on the TIP, which, now what does TIP stand for? Transportation Improvement Program, right? So, for example, it is the program that did the downtown redesign, right? So, the way the traffic is now. We ended up on the TIP, I don't know, that was probably 10 years ago we did that project. So I've been the representative, and they're looking for, so what, did you see it?
I saw that email, yeah.
So, what's the deal? It sounded like an election or something. I wasn't
Yeah.
really sure on the wording on that, but,
Yeah, I guess the board can appoint somebody to that.
okay. All right. So I've been on it for a year. I'm looking to see if either of you two want to do it. I have unfortunately not been able to attend a lot of those meetings. A lot of it's because I'm with the CDBG, the Warren Community Development Advisory Committee. So there's been conflicts, and there's a conflict next week where I can't be on that meeting again. So it's a Zoom meeting at 4 o'clock on the Wednesday of every month. So I don't know if David can do it or you can do it, but it might be good to switch it up at this point.
Wednesday at 4?
Yeah. So it's usually like the third Wednesday, I think.
I may not.
Okay.
This,
And it has to be a select board? Yeah, okay.
well, it can, okay. I'll be Wednesday, the 18th.
Yeah, that's the next one, which is the same day as the master plan thing.
Master plan is until 6.
Right, but, if we need to be there early to set up or, help out, so.
I could try to help on this one, so at least we don't lose that one.
Yeah.
Don't appoint me yet. But I'll,
All right, we have to, at some point, we have to appoint somebody. so-
yeah, I could probably help with this.
Okay. All right, that's my new business. So I don't know if we want to put that on a future agenda or something, right? We do have to take care of it.
Yeah.
At
So
some
we can
point.
put it on the next agenda.
Okay.
Any old business? The lines?
I don't.
I'm speaking
Lines,
for,
yep, so I have been in contact with Jeremy. Chapter 90 is available. He's looking for companies to potentially come in here, and he's checking to see if there's any companies that are already qualified and on the OSD option or on the state bid list.
awesome. It's just,
He's got a lot of projects going on right now with Coy Hill, with New Reed Street, which there was just a grant awarded over there, Otis Street, School Street, keeping up with grass, a lot of projects going on.
yeah, we appreciate that. But if we make this happen, he's gonna look good.
I've mentioned it to him a couple times.
Thank you. Correspondence. We have an email from Pam Famulari. It says, it's directed to Mr. Ferrer. It says, I am a Warren resident, and recently my husband saw on the town Facebook page that the veterans sign outside of the Warren Library needed some upkeep and paint. He is willing to volunteer his time and supplies to fix and paint the sign, as well as remulch and plant couple of months. I contacted the library but received no response. He was advised by the police officers to contact you, Mr. Ferra. My husband, James Femulari, is a Worcester Union carpenter and can bring some life back to the sign. If you would let us know if this is a project that you can approve, we'd appreciate it. He would like to start as soon as possible to get it done by Veterans Day. Thank you. And signed by Pam Femulari.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As the email indicated, I did receive this last week. I have talked to Pam. I have forwarded it to all the board members for their review. It's very nice to see a resident willing to take this project on and help us. I did let the family know that, if the board was to allow this to happen, we could certainly pay, for the supplies. They refused that, and that they would be more than willing to take this project on in its entirety, and to pay all the costs. And they feel as though that Mr. Famulari, with his experience as being a union carpenter, this would, obviously is well within his wheelhouse, and would, provide some joy for him to do this project. And like the email had indicated, they would like to get this done before the cold weather, and before Veterans Day. And the project needs to be done. It was identified by our Veterans Council of the past as a project that they were looking to do at some point. Unfortunately, we don't have a council anymore. So this is an opportunity, I feel, for the town, if the board so chooses to, take advantage of it.
What do you think?
Well, when I saw this, I was like, well, maybe we should get some sort of like, what is he gonna do? What kind of work? But he's a union carpenter, so whatever. Just say, go ahead and do it. I mean, he knows what he's doing. It's not like me volunteering my time to do it when I don't know carpentry, so.
I'm fine with it. I
Yeah.
really appreciate. I think if we can get more people like this in town,
When he's done, see if he wants to do like conservation or something.
Okay. I said, when I talked to Pam this week, I said, it's really up, I said, I don't certainly have a problem with it. It's the ultimate decision of the selectmen. I said I would bring it before the board this evening. I will certainly give her a call to let her know if the board, wants to move forward with this, then we can do that.
I'm okay. We just need before and after pictures.
And maybe when it's done, we can do something nice for them if they're not.
Maybe we
gonna-
could have a rededication or,
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Perfect.
Just a public acknowledgement of.
Mhm.
the
Maybe
work
at
that
Veterans
they've
Day?
done. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that would be good. Okay.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
I'll
Green
let her
light.
know. Thank you.
Any more correspondence? Nothing else? Any comments or concerns? I don't have any comments. Any concerns? Public has any comments or concerns? Hey, Joe?
Step up to the podium.
Joe Conrad, resident. I was very grateful to see yesterday the flags at half-staff for the 9/11 tragedies some 23 years ago. And it got to me thinking, when you realize 911 is the emergency number for police and fire. And the other thing that I'd like to comment on Tuesday of this week, the Congress voted to give a Congressional Gold Medal to the families of the last 13 who were murdered in Kabul, Afghanistan. It was a beautiful ceremony. It was 11 o'clock Tuesday morning. And all the ranking members of the Congress gave out the medals to these 13 families. And the leader of the Republican Party and the House Representative made a formal apology to these people, saying that it should never have happened. But somebody did not listen to the generals in charge. And strange as it may seem, even though our vice president is the Senate president, she was not there, because at 11 o'clock in the morning, she would have had to been in the Capitol Rotunda, and at 9 o'clock that night, she was having a debate, so once again, she couldn't be bothered to be there. I looked up the Congressional Gold Medal, and prior to this, only 184 have been issued since its inception. This is a rarity, but the members of Congress voted to issue it for these 13 families. For that, I am grateful.
Thank you, Joe. Anybody on Zoom?
Nope.
Our next meeting is Monday, September 16th.
Executive session.
What time is it?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock? You're gonna have me drive from Boston to here at 5?
You better leave at 1.
No kidding. Okay, and then regular meeting on September 19th.
Yep.
Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second that. All in favor?
Rich Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's, we are adjourned.